Welcome to another episode of Off-Season Grades. And today I'm joined by Matt McCall to break down the Iowa State Cyclones. And man, this is a team that looks pretty good. They returned pretty much the core of their scoring from a year ago when they went to the Elite Eight and won the Big 12 tournament. TJ Otzelberger has done a phenomenal job. He's made the tournament all 3 years back at Iowa State, and last year got him to a point where I don't think anybody thought that was going to happen, right? I mean, brought in some new faces, and they all kind of worked out, right? I mean, Keyshawn Gilbert from UNLV, Curtis Jones comes over from Buffalo. He brings on Milan as a freshman, and he was good. And they take a huge step, which nobody expected. But they do it with defense. They do it with culture. And they lost all their bigs from this past year, Matt. And they're all kind of just like steady bigs who did the dirty work, right? None of them were like, you didn't look at any of them and were blown away. But collectively, they were all pretty good, right? Trey King, Robert Jones, and Hassan Ward. The trio was pretty good. And what Otzelberger and his staff did was that was the priority, because you bring back Lipsy and, like I said, those other guys, you needed something up front. And they brought in Deshaun Jackson. He's the guy that they're really high on right now, coming over from Charlotte. He's like 6'11", 270. And TJ told me he's been great in the offseason. He can move well. He can finish with both hands. He can space it a little bit. And then Joshua Jefferson from St. Mary's, 6'8" forward, who went down towards the end of the year for the Gales. And I thought that was a difference maker for St. Mary's, being able to go anywhere in the NCAA tournament. So they didn't have to do a ton. It was like plugging holes up front, Matt. But, I don't know. This team's a top 5 preseason team for me this year.
Well, a couple of things. One, number 1 defense in the country, and you return your 4 top scorers and your 4 guys that know the defense and know.
Is that good, though? Wait, is that good? You returned your top 4 scorers, but you couldn't really score it very well last year.
Who cares?
Okay.
You're still guarding. I want to go back, because this is, to me, what he's doing. Because there's a lot of people, I'm sure, and I can't go way back and look. When he got the job, some people were probably like, 12 wins last year? UNLV?
Right.
Really? Iowa State?
A lot of people were.
Right? I mean, there was some. I remember your comments when UMass hired a guy from the South. Okay, I remember that.
The difference, here's the difference. The difference is TJ Otzelberger had been at Iowa State.
No question.
He knew the landscape.
But here's the thing, too. That 12-win season for him, he learned, he grew, he got better. And when this opportunity came, he knew exactly what he had to do. And it is super impressive.
Yep. All right, Matt. So what's your big question mark with this Iowa State team? Do you have one? Because, again, I think they got one of the best leaders, one of the best point guards in the country in Lipsy. They've got firepower enough. Again, we talked about they're not a big-time offensive team, but Gilbert, Jones, and Milan can all score the ball from their respective positions. And if Deshaun Jackson is a guy that TJ and his staff think he can be, giving him a little bit of a different dimension up front. And remember, he started his career at Washington State, missed the whole season 2 years ago due to a medical issue, and then transferred down and had a pretty good year at Charlotte. And again, I think Jefferson's like an X factor here. I really do. I think he gives them something different, a little bit of a dynamic combo forward, who missed, again, he practiced the last 6 practices of the summer for Iowa State, and TJ told me he looked really, really good, especially with his ability to pass the ball. And that's, again, when you go back to the culture here, that's what it's about. Like, these guys aren't out for themselves, and I think it starts with the point guard, Lipsy.
I think it starts with him. I think, too, in the transfer portal, bringing in a guy like Nate Heisey that, led Northern Iowa in scoring, it gives them a little more firepower on that end of the floor. Look, their defense is going to be there. The health of Joshua Jefferson, I think too. Like where is he at coming off the knee? Those are always concerning. You don't know. Every player, every body is different in terms of coming off those types of injuries. So his health, big key. Brandon Chatfield, we haven't even talked about him, the transfer from Seattle. Another guy that brings depth in the front court. But bringing those four guys back, addressing some needs offensively to give them more firepower on that end of the floor, bringing in a guy like Heisey from Northern Iowa, I think was huge. So look, the defense travels. It always does. It's going to be there. That culture piece, not bringing in guys that are going to mess with what they have going on, I think was big time for this Iowa State team.
Yeah, I mean, expectations now for this team with those guys coming back and adding bigs that I actually think are more talented than the ones they lost. But that doesn't mean you're going to be better. That doesn't mean you're going to be better because those guys bought into their roles, right? And will Jefferson buy into his role, or will he want to be a scorer? Will he do the dirty work when it gets down to it? Same thing with Deshaun Jackson. I just think, again, the culture is so strong with this team and this program that it's hard not to walk in if you're Jefferson or Jackson and say, like, all right, these dudes won so many games last year. They got within a game of the Final Four. I'm not rocking the boat. And TJ really doesn't. It's crazy being around this program. I've known TJ a long time, and he's really matured to a point where there's such a respect level, and the way he does things is so methodical now that it almost looks like they're a little bit of Villanova. It reminds me a little bit of Villanova, that these guys, I don't want to say they're robots, but they don't look like they're having a ton of fun at times. They look like they're professionals who are out there just with a job to do, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the biggest thing is not necessarily what they're doing, because they do it at a high level. They do extremely well. These guys are going to come in, they're going to buy in right away. But you still have Baylor, you still have Kansas, you still have Kansas State, you still have Houston. You have all these teams in this league where you can have a bad week and you can go from first place to fifth. Like it is a gauntlet of a conference. So, top 10 team, no question about it. Great job in the summertime, adding in pieces for what they lost. And that culture and that defense is still going to be there.
Yeah, I think Lipsy, to me, I'm not sure how many point guards in the country I would take over him right now. And again, he's not going to blow you away, but he's an elite defender. And he's just somebody that makes all the right decisions, doesn't care about putting up big time scoring numbers, isn't playing for the league or to try to get to the league. He's just playing to win games, and that's what they did last year. So, all right. So, again, there wasn't much they had to do other than fill these front court spots. They did it. We don't know a lot about Deshaun Jackson. That's going to be TBD to how he performs. I think I've seen enough of Jefferson to know if he's healthy, he's going to give him something different that they haven't had before up front. And Chatfield, I think, again, will give him a rotation big. Those were the big, really, additions. So give me a grade. Give me a grade, offseason grade for Iowa State in the Cyclones.
Well, every offseason, too, we got to put some stock into getting guys back. You have to re-recruit your team.
Yes.
Every single offseason. Okay, so I don't know what their NIL budget is. I'm sure it's
Not
strong,
great.
but
Great.
it's not better than these other teams in their league. So getting those four guys back, I think I'm not going A plus, but getting those four guys back and bringing in the right guys in the transfer portal to not mess with the connectivity and the culture of Iowa State basketball, I'm going to give them an A.
Yeah, I'm going to give him an A minus. Just because I don't know Deshaun Jackson well enough yet, right? I don't know that. I don't know how Jefferson's going to assimilate.
I forgot there was minuses in here. I would probably I forgot the minus piece. Yeah, we gotta add the minus.
I mean, okay. You probably got a lot of minuses back in your career. I don't know what I graded your higher, but it might have been it was not an A. I know
Chattanooga was an A. For
I
sure.
knew he was an A. At UMass, it was definitely not an A. TJ Otzelberger, he got an A last year. He got a straight up A for his
And I
performance.
know you didn't give him an A 3 years ago, whenever it was, coming out of UNLV.
No, but I'll tell you what, I've known TJ a long time, and sometimes fit is
That's
what
right.
matters. And
That
that's
is
what I
right.
said about you at UMass. I don't know if he fit at UNLV. I thought he would. I actually thought TJ would fit at UNLV, but TJ is more of like a 45-year-old going on 60 right now. And I'm not sure he quite fit it in Vegas. And he fits it Iowa State, that's for damn sure. So
You fit in
uh,
Vegas at those blackjack tables, so there's no question
I
about
don't know about that. I don't know about that. So Iowa State, A minus from both Matt McCall and myself. Off-season grades. Make sure you check out all of our off-season grades. We've got about 40 to 50 of them on the field of 68 right now, so you can check them all out. And thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.